This is Jack from No Code MBA, and welcome to this no code success story where today we're going to look at Leonardo English, which is a language learning platform created by a person called Alistair. And he created this podcast where he creates resources for English language learners. And this is something I have done as well. So I know this industry very well. Now, the key to this success story today is to think about the no-code tools that he has used and also how he has monetized. He's going to also share some insights too in terms of the struggles that he's had, the challenges he has had to overcome, and also what his plans for the future are with this. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. We talk about no-code tools such as Bubble, Webflow, Glide, etc., Zapier too, and also business ideas so that you can monetize the no-code tools and build something yourself. Now, if you want to learn more from us, then definitely check out our website. Firstly, get our guide to no-code tools, which is free to download, and then check out our courses if you want in-depth tutorials on how to use no-code tools. Now, before we take a deep dive into the platform and the products that he offers, I want to talk about why Alistair started this company. And he talked about how he had roles in marketing and growth in different companies, and then he started to teach English. So obviously, these two things go hand in hand. He taught English, he had experience in marketing, he decided to put these two together. And then he also talked about how this would give him greater freedom. By having his own thing, it means that he could work on his own schedule and also be able to live anywhere in the world that he wanted to live. And he also talked about how he likes to validate ideas. And once you validate that idea, you know that somebody likes what you are producing. So in terms of the platform, I think the interesting part to this is that two things. Firstly, he has a podcast. So the podcast is the way that he can reach new people. It's on podcast platforms. It takes a while to build up in most cases, unless you already have a big platform with something else. And we'll talk more about that journey in a moment. But the other thing here is that he has a membership area, become a member. And this is how he has monetized his podcast, where you can get unlimited access to 400 plus episodes, interactive transcripts, advanced vocabulary, translations in 12 languages, and more. So this is to learn English through fascinating audio stories. And he has two levels here. He has a starter and he also has pro. So this gives learners two options to choose from. And this is called price anchoring. And it's used often by companies and individuals, solopreneurs, to say, here are your options, this or this. And this kind of like changes the psychology of it a little bit, where people, instead of thinking, yes, I want to buy it or I don't want to buy it, you think, which one do I want? Now, there's a login button here. And if we click that, it's going to take you to the login page. And he built this using Webflow and Memberstack together. Now, we have a course on exactly how to do this. Again, just click the link in the description and browse the courses to see how this happened. We've also talked about this in business ideas in one of our videos. I'll leave a link to that as well. But this is what Alistair has done in order to create this membership area, that back-end area, where you have the website on one hand, but then you also have the logic and everything else that goes with it using Memberstack. Now, in addition to Webflow and Memberstack, Alistair also uses tools like Integromat so that he can connect the payment processors such as Stripe to everything. So Integromat is like that thing in the middle, the middleman, which connects the different apps that he uses so that they can all talk to each other. And he uses things like Slack and MailerLite for communication and email service providers. Now, we asked Alistair what were the initial costs to get Leonardo English off the ground. And he says this, really, not much at all. I guess under $250 to get everything off the ground, which is mainly SaaS. I charged for the service from day one, and fortunately, even a small amount of early revenue started to cover these costs. So low cost to start with, monetize straight away, and then those costs are covered through that early monetization period, which means that you are breaking even from the start instead of losing money from the start. And this can do great things for confidence and motivation. Now, we talked about before how Alistair uses the podcast in order to reach people. But not only that, he uses the podcast as materials for the membership area. But in terms of reaching people, this is what he said. Given that my main product is a podcast, it tends to be mainly discovered through the podcast networks. I've also invested heavily in SEO content creation and I'm starting to see the benefits of that now. And he also talked about how he has experimented with Facebook and Instagram ads, and they haven't worked for him yet, but he's still learning about that and may consider doing this again in the future. We also asked Alistair about the biggest challenges for getting Leonardo English off the ground. And he mentioned two things. Firstly, when you're first starting out on podcast platforms, it can be a slow grind up, where at first you're not getting a lot of people, but then this starts to snowball. And we found that with our YouTube channel here on No Code MBA. You're going to find this on all social media platforms. At the start, it's going to be difficult. You're going to produce content, and then you're not going to get a lot of people subscribing in the beginning. But once it starts to build up, it becomes exponential and starts to hockey stick. Now, the other challenge was that he found that people were mainly searching for how to learn English in their native language. But what I've seen, and what many other English teachers have seen as well, is that the learning English market solely in English is big. It is huge. There are YouTube channels with millions of subscribers where all they do is talk in English, not in any other language. So even though people are searching for things in their native language, this is still a huge market. Now, we asked Alistair what the future plans for Leonardo English are, and this is what he said. In the future, I'd like to create standalone narrative podcasts and courses and become the go-to place for audio-first English learning content for intermediate and advanced speakers. So at the moment, he's offering those bonuses on top of the podcast he's creating. But what Alistair is saying that he wants to create standalone audio products as well, which will then take him on to the next level. So that is the story of Leonardo English, somebody who had experience in the marketing world, in the English teaching world, brought those two together, created a podcast, monetized that podcast, and used no-code tools to bring it all together. If you have found this interesting, please hit the like button on the video and share it with a friend. Just click that share button and send it through your favorite messaging app. And then be sure to subscribe to this channel and check out the resources that I mentioned in the description. Things like your guide to no-code tools, the courses that we have available, and other related videos. Okay, thank you again for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.